Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, all. I could see that people from various time zones and various countries have joined around like 30 countries. So I'm just giving you all a common greeting. First of all, thank you for joining the webinar and welcome to our webinar on how you can design your SAP S4 HANA business use case and journey, hosted by our CEO of Kaar Tech, Mr. Maran N. A quick introduction about Mr. Maran. Maran has over 20 plus years of experience in the SAP field, and the company he built along with the three of his college mates is now one of the world's largest pure play SAP services, that is Car Technologies. Over to you, Maran, to kickstart the webinar.
Thank you, Nivi. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. I have to do this because there are people from 30 different countries have joined. And most important, today's webinar, we are going to address why should the firms consider moving to S4HANA at all, how to plan your S4HANA migration journey, and what are the best practices for it, how to build a business use case for the leaders to convince the CXOs and the board, and the various project hacks which have built over the course of experience of our implementation journeys, and then real-time S4HANA migration business use cases that we have used or our customers have used in the past. Before going deep into the webinar, I would like to quickly introduce about myself. I am Maran. I have personally have more than 25 years of experience in the field of SAP since the days of 3.0H onwards. I'm the CEO of Kaar Tech and a member of the company's board of directors. I started the Kaar Tech in 2006 along with three of our friends, and we are currently 750 plus consultants, and we are a pure play SAP firm. We have helped more than 250 global enterprises worldwide in their various SAP journeys. And I'm a strong S4HANA evangelist, and we have supported more than 25 organizations just in the past couple of years in transition to S4HANA. A very quick introduction to the company. As I said, founded in 2006, 5,000 plus man years of SAP expertise, more than 750 plus SAP consultants, 1,400 projects executed in the last 13, 14 years, 250 plus global SAP customers. And we are in 10 locations, and we have Gartner citations. And these are the service areas that we focus on. And these are the various verticals. And we have been awarded many awards in the past by SAP for the exemplary work that we have done with our customers. And we have our own IP with K-Turn, K-Cloud, K-Learn, and K-Net. I'll talk about them in later. Let's get to the subject of S4HANA. Where is the mind share of the CIOs and the directors of ITs today? We are facing a VUCA world. When I say VUCA, it is the volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and the ambiguity. Today's businesses are filled with this VUCA, and it is very important to remain agile, and the technology has to be nimble to support you to deal with this kind of a VUCA world. So what is facing the CIOs today? What are the IT leaders in the companies facing? There are multiple versions of truth floating around in your organization, causing you pain all the time, data being challenged all the time, reporting's being challenged all the time. Then there is a haphazard solution deployment in the name of bimodal IT. Gartner framed this term, and you are witnessing this in a real time. Your organizations are not only driven by your core ERP, but there are a plethora of other SaaS applications and satellite applications involved in your organization, communicating with each other in a crisscross fashion. In a last survey, every single organization, even the smallest, has at least 50 applications which are coexisting amongst them. And today, one of the biggest challenges facing the CIO is managing the millennials and the Gen Z IT expectations. And also, the demands are to manage the regulations and the compliance. And the statutory regulations are fast changing, and the ability to respond the time to respond is shrinking. And omni-channel delivery you're expected to deliver the same information consistently in multiple channels, multiple devices, and multiple ways. Then delayed data visibility, which delays your decision making as well. And there is a constantly changing business landscape. The new business models are continuously evolving, and that's forcing organizations to rethink continuously how we can adapt the new business models. How are companies solving these problems in the last 5 years? Companies have undertaken a multi-year digital transformation roadmap through one of the below paths. What we have predominantly seen is there are two strategies largely adapted. One is core to edge or edge to core. When we say core to edge, fixing your core financial processes, logistical processes, and manufacturing processes, and then moving to the satellite innovations. However, this is effort intensive. Whereas the edge to core is easy to adapt. It's very fast. You can keep on increasing your satellite applications, and you can create a plethora of periphery of satellite applications, whether it is on-prem or SaaS, it doesn't matter. But then the edge to the core. But beyond the point, the effort to go to the start with the edge may be minimal, but then it creates heavy complexity in the core business processes. Where are companies in their digital transformation journey? Simply put, the edge to core has led to a very, very loosely fractured, chaotic, uncontrolled IT landscape. Many of the times, because it is easy to adapt in the innovation roadmap, the organizations start from the satellite. Sometimes it is even beyond the control of the IT, it is even beyond the control of the CIO. There are many business units which bring in the SaaS applications or the satellite applications, and then the demand of integrating it with their core business processes of finance or logistics lands up in the table of the IT. So this is a very, very common problem, and over a period of time, what happens is it's almost like a spaghetti. So you do not know where the data is originating, you do not know where the data is landing, you do not know which version of the data is being consumed by your consumers at any given point in time. See, this multi-directional information flow, multi-directional data flow has caused an uncontrolled explosive growth in organizations. So this is predominantly because enterprises used edge to core approach. 20 to 50% into the digitization cycle. This is how the companies are. How to do the digitization at a very optimal cost. So these are all the questions which is confronting the CIOs. And to simply put, digitizing the core is the answer. Unless you address the core first, you will not be in a position to answer many of the subsequent questions. Edge digitization gives very lesser than anticipated ROI, though it looks like it can give a quick win, but in the long run, it causes more pain. So this is why customers are at crossroads. Why SAP S/4HANA can be the best choice of digitization of the core. Now, SAP S/4HANA answers all of the CIO problems with the ability to give omni-channel delivery. It has hundreds of whitelisted APIs, so all your customizations and the custom codes and the custom interfaces can be eliminated. The real-time data visibility. SAP has provided embedded analytics, insight into action. So the need for delayed data and the delayed intelligence and delayed report building and delayed distribution of information can be really avoided. The localization. SAP has aggressively done the localization globally, and every single country's statutory laws and compliances are being addressed in such a fast fashion. You don't have to build custom solutions for all of this. Reimagined business processes. SAP S/4HANA allows you to embed the business functions along with the AI and the ML needs. And it helps you give the single version of the truth. And because of the HANA database, and also because of the core processes, like all your masters, all your transactions, all your reporting can get to the central core. And this gives a true bimodal IT. It's not a fractured bimodal IT that you have to go towards, but a true bimodal IT that you can evolve towards. So this helps you rationalization of application and a very strong cloud imagination that you can do. Map your path to S/4HANA strategy in this following fashion. First, assess your current applications. This is a very, very important step to do if you're even contemplating your S/4HANA journey, because the organizations have lost their ability to have a perfect track of the 100% of the applications which are impacting and interacting with your core business processes. So you might be surprised that how many applications evolve which has an impact on the core, or the core has the impact on the satellite applications. So assess the current applications, then understand your needs. Now this is the moment to have a look at what are the applications that I need for my business to continue in the sustain in the future. Whether you take a decision of whether it is a SAP decision or a non-SAP solution, it doesn't matter. Of course, we are an SAP solution provider, but we are agnostic towards the best of breed solutions. So the organizations have to take a decision here in terms of what best suits their organization for the future digital roadmap. And then various deployment options in each one of these. There has to be some clarity in terms of what are the deployment options that we can take and arrive at your timeline. Usually we see a 3 to 5 year roadmaps are pretty common, and then evolve your implementation strategy. When I talked about your assess the current applications and understand your needs, there are a host of applications, whether it is from the SAP family or from the non-SAP family, which has, like, for example, you want to manage the talent within your organization, whether it's a success factors or expenses, managing how you manage your expenses using the Concur or other solutions. Customer relationship management, how do you go towards your C4HANA? Supply network collaboration, whether you consider Ariba in your roadmap. Spend management, how you intend to manage the e-commerce solutions, whether you go for the B2C or a B2B e-commerce solutions using the Hybris, and how you manage your customer experience. The warehouse management solutions, you might have an archaic warehouse management solutions implemented or third-party solutions implemented. This is a moment to relook at them. Transportation management solutions, many a times these are either satellite applications in standalone fashion or disconnected, non-integrated functionalities, which you can relook to say, how can I bring it to the core? Or your predictive analytics, or your digital boardroom, or various demand planning functions that you do in your organization for the forecast, how you manage your entire business planning cycle, starting from the budgeting to the monitoring of it and the sales operations planning, and how you do the financial consolidation, whether it is a subsidiary or at the global level or at the holding company level, how your consolidation strategy is working financially. Then your global trade services, how you manage them, how you manage your treasury functions, how you manage your financial supply chain management, like banking interfaces or banking communications, or credit management or treasury operations. Then how you manage your manufacturing systems, whether you want integration or intelligence out of those manufacturing system layers, IoT connectivities, and the big data analytics that you can deploy, operational analytics that you can speed up, then the AI/ML interventions that you can give in the business processes to have intelligent decisions or to reduce manpower effort. Or you can go for the RPA, what are the robotic process automations that you implement in various business processes to eliminate waste and to eliminate the tribal knowledge and bring it to a process-based applications. And whether to reimagine and rethink your infrastructure with respect to the cloud or various applications. So these are all the various elements that you need to keep in mind before you put in place the roadmap and also you define your journey. What to consider while choosing your SAP S/4HANA journey path? There are multiple options available for you before you consider your S/4HANA. One thing that we will recommend against is, do not go to S/4HANA via Suite on HANA. When I say Suite on HANA, just changing the database from other database to HANA is the least recommended option. First to Suite on HANA and then to S/4HANA means 80% of repeated effort. So don't do that. And the various options that you can consider while choosing your S/4HANA path is, number one, the licenses. How would you want to consider your licenses? This is more a financial decision. This is more conversation with the board in terms of the appetite for going towards a CapEx model or going towards an OpEx model. If it is a CapEx, it's going to be financially intensive. It's going to be OpEx. There are multiple OpEx models which have evolved in the past, which allows you to take advantage by conserving cash and managing your cash better. So your deployment options, you can choose whether it is an on-prem solution or a cloud or a hybrid solution that you can decide of. There are multiple solutions which are available here, again, starting from the super clouds to private clouds to hybrid clouds to own managed clouds to, there are tons of options available here which needs to be evaluated considering your financial, geographical, statutory reasons as to how you would like to do, or your corporate policies, how you would like to handle them. Then implementation, whether you would like to go for the Greenfield or a Maroon field or a Brownfield. Let's talk a little bit more about that subsequently. Then S/4HANA solution options. S/4HANA also comes in multiple flavors, whether you want to go for a perpetual on-prem model, or you would like to go for a single tenant edition, or whether you want to go for a multi-tenant edition. Multi-tenant edition is truly a SaaS solution or close to the SaaS solution. A single tenant edition is somewhere in between when you consider a pure public cloud or to an on-prem customized solution. So multiple deployment options are also available for you, which needs to be evaluated. This is just a quick overview in terms of what we mean by Greenfield, Maroon field, or a Brownfield. Let's take some time in analyzing which direction we should take in organizations depending upon how the current context is. Is your current process enable long-term strategy? If you think the answer is yes, the next question you might want to ask is, do I really want to take all the historical data, or I want to really shun my historical data? If the answer is no, then you can consider a Maroon field migration. The Maroon field is nothing but the ability to maintain a status quo in your business operations, but the ability to shun your past data for 15, 20, 10 years, whatever that you might carry, that you may not want to carry forward. So in that case, we recommend Maroon field. If your current business process does not enable the long-term strategy or only partially fulfills, then you should go towards either Brownfield or Greenfield. Within this, how do I choose? If you really want to do your digital roadmap, you want to get the core ready now and then do the innovations in the future, then you can look at the Brownfield. And this also tells you the as-is business models. If your as-is business models are currently okay, then you can consider the lift and shift, which we call as the Brownfield, which is nothing but just lift your existing box, shift to S/4HANA, get ready, prepare a robust core. Now keep moving for your future innovation roadmap. The next option is you really want to reimagine your business processes now. You're not in a position to wait for subsequent years to manage your business process change. In that case, and your new business models are evolving right now and you're in a hurry to get to the new business models. In that case, you have to consider Greenfield implementation. This might be the faster way. Of course, the implementation duration may be a bit longer, but this is the best way and the faster way to get to your faster business models. So this is what are the differences. On an offline conversation, we can help you much more in terms of how to understand the differences, the nuanced differences between them, and what is best suited for you. Within this Greenfield, Maroon field, or Brownfield, what do I choose? The last word, conversion, means that transformation happens after. If you're just merely doing a conversion, transformation happens later. So these are all the various options. If you look at the Brownfield, which is nothing but a conversion, the IT transformation alone takes precedence. So you pretty much create a robust IT core, whether it is infra or system or application, you create a robust IT core. The business transformation follows you later. This is where the later it follows. If you go in the maroon field, the IT transformation is not that intense. It's partially handled, but the business transformation follows in a shorter cycle. If you go the greenfield path, the IT transformation and the business transformation goes in parallel, and it helps you get to the new business models faster. These are all the influencing factors in making your choice. How is your executive sponsor thinking about business transformation scope? What is the business value I'm going to derive out of this? How long I'm willing to spend on this? What is your staffing capability? What is your internal organization strength? What is your external organization strength? What are the risks which are currently facing? How much is the skills that you have access to? What about your historical data requirement? How the organizations are hung on this, or you're okay to get rid of them? Downtime requirements. These are very critical questions that you need to answer. And sometimes the downtime requirements may determine your direction. Sometimes the downtime may be so high that you cannot manage a conversion process. So the number of in-scope items, how much you would like to handle, the organization change and the training that you have to go through, whether the organization is prepared to take this, and the customer SAP code, how much of the inherited code is causing you trouble. Are you happy with the current context of the inherited code base, or you're absolutely unhappy about the inherited code base? And what are the S4HANA simplifications that you want to adapt? So these are all the various influencing factors which helps you determine between green, maroon, and the brown. Subsequently, when should you move to S4HANA? This is the next big question which is facing everybody. Yes, moving to S4HANA is a given because SAP maintenance is, ECC maintenance is going down. It's going into a maintenance mode by 25. And the rush to S4HANA is predicted from 21. So should I wait till 2021, 22, 23, 24, or should I start now? The factors that you have to consider is STF and Gartner predicts existing and new resources will sustainably transition to S4HANA by 21, and they would get consumed. Shortages will begin in 21 and increase dramatically, exponentially till 25 for all S4HANA. Implementation costs will skyrocket and go up till 3 times from 2020 to 2025. This is a simple graph of the resources available in the S4HANA, and the SAP install base currently close to 250,000 consultants are available. This is only in the American continent, and this will drastically fall, and there will be a point of inflection that by 21 or 22, 100% of the existing S4HANA resources or the SAP capable resources will be consumed, and there is a severe shortage of 400,000 people predicted. Only 400,000 only in the American continent by 2024. Now, you can imagine what this kind of a shortage in the resources is going to mean for the cost of implementation and for the transformation. So, in short, Y2K of SAP is coming, is what we can say. Now, these are the factors which makes you consider that there is an urgency towards planning for your S4HANA and planning your S4HANA migration. Now, the next important question which is facing every business leader is, how do I take this to the board? What are the value drivers that I can take to the board? What is the business case that I can take to the board? How can I convince the board, or how can I convince the CXOs to prepare to get spend for this S4HANA? I can largely divide this into 2 types. The few of the drivers are extrinsic in nature, few of the drivers are intrinsic in nature. But the pressure on both of them is mounting on the organizations by the day. There are evolving business models which is extrinsic in nature. So there are new business solutions that you need to do which will fit the digital economy. And if there are M&A opportunities, the M&A direction your organization is taking, you need to have an agile system to be able to support that. The faster access to capital markets, responding to significant disruption from the market. See, faster go-to-market time, address threats to the business, capture growth opportunities, enhanced user experience, bringing the extended ecosystem into your framework, and enhance the customer value. Now, all these can be done only if your digital core is strong enough. Otherwise, the time to market with the GTM and the time to market with newer business models, newer business solutions. I can give you just simple one example. You may have a huge, the timeline, the lead time that you may have from, let's say, factories in China or Thailand or Singapore and being shipped to the Western continents might be taking a much, much longer time now. So your inventory levels may be higher, your lead time to deliver may be longer. In such scenarios, how do you imagine new business processes where you can reduce your freight time, reduce your transition time, and reduce your inventory levels? So these elements will have a huge play in terms of your core supporting you in going for these new business models. So these are the intrinsic ones I talk about: the optimizing the business process, how you can increase your asset efficiency, how can you simplify your process, how can you have a faster financial close, how can you optimize your IT landscape, how can you go towards a single version of the truth, because the single version of the truth, if it is not present, there are always conversations between your executive management and the IT department, constantly conflicting conversations on terms of the data and the truth version of the reporting. Better statutory compliances, and how do you achieve higher automation? And how do you achieve driving the shareholder value? How can you increase your profitability? How can you reduce your cost? How can you reduce your SG&A? How can you reduce your overhead spends? So and how can you increase your brand reputation, increase your customer loyalty, stickiness? So these are all the factors, how getting connected to the S4HANA, which helps you convince the board to go towards the S4HANA move. If you look, the key shareholder, talking about the same topic of how we can have extended, convincing the board and your management into the S4HANA journey, the key shareholder value levers are revenue growth, profitability, asset efficiency, and strategic in nature. So the revenue growth can be driven by, as I said, the inorganic M&As, divestitures, sales volumes, and also the S4HANA allows you to have newer segments, newer ways of reporting, simplified ways of reporting, better pricing controls, better models by subscriptions, and customer visibility. And in our own cases, we have seen 5 times of faster invoicing and 20% reduction in working capital, 16 times of faster invoice processing in certain cases. And how can you increase your profitability? How can you reduce your cost of goods sold? How can you reduce your SG&A administration cost? By faster cycle, by lower risk areas, automation of manual tasks, and standardizing and scaling. The ability to give a platform which can help you scale. So we have seen 70% reduction in procurement department size just after an S4HANA, 50% faster month-end closures after S4HANA. So these are all the changes that can help you get to the shareholder value. How can you increase your asset efficiency and more efficient use of assets, wear and tear, preemptive actions, lower inventory, optimized cash? We talked about it, and I'm a little bit rushing in with a full mind share of time. And let's go to the strategic areas. How can you reduce the business and operations reporting costs while improving the analytics results? There are cases where we have seen 900 times faster reporting and analytics through embedded analytics. Gone are the days where you have to wait for 24 hours, 48 hours, 1 week, 1 month to get to your real-time information. So really fast current information being made available because of the S4HANA's embedded analytics and also the real-time monitoring of all your operational information. I would like to talk a few about the real-time, real-life business use cases from our own experiences. In one of the example, in high-tech manufacturing from USA, we had to go for a new product line in the company and also to go for the B2B online business model. So these two became a very strong driver for becoming the S4HANA's business use case. And in one of the professional services organization, there is a cost control of the external projects, which was going uncontrollably. So to have a central view, this was S4HANA was adopted, and the distributed data systems landscape was controlled by this S4HANA move. And in one of the travel and transportation customer in UK, there was a divestiture which was planned, and that made the perfect case for an S4HANA journey, and also for the expansion and push into the new geographies. If you one more high-tech manufacturing company in Singapore, so they had to reimagine their entire business process because it's a 20-year-old system, and they had old business practices, and they had to move to the current business practices. So this was the reason for moving towards S4HANA. And in one of the electrical manufacturing companies, it's a Japanese giant, and one of the 5 subsidiaries of a very big Japanese firm, and they had to move towards their own ERP system just to manage their explosive growth that they're facing. And this gives you the flexibility to manage that growth. And in one of the utilities companies in Qatar, there was a need for a new billing model and also for the expanded capacity. So the business cases for each customer can vary, but all of them converge back to newer business models, responding to the business change, and reduced cost, increased profitability, and customer retention. So these are the predominant factors which converge in how you should move towards S4HANA. Now, I would like to talk about, before you go for an S4HANA journey, it's very, very important to have an assessment. An assessment is a mandatory before you go to the board. Assess your firm on these 5 parameters before going to the board if you want to have answers to all the questions. You have to be very clear in terms of your strategy, evaluate new technologies, recommend a roadmap, and develop a business case. This is absolute must. A mere IT ask cannot fly with the board. Your architecture. Review your overall IT landscape and design a future-proof architecture. This future-proof architecture can be governed by your total cost of ownership reduction, moving from CapEx to OpEx, so that or a hardware change. For example, if you're thinking about a hardware refresh, now this is a moment that you can say, I don't want the CapEx, but I may go for an OpEx, and this is the moment for me to look at that. And deployment options. Look at your clear choices in terms of cloud or on-prem or appliance or tailored data center integration. Then in terms of the technicality, plan and protect your investments during the customization, so that you don't have to inherit the past. In the past, there was heavy customizations which have happened in your system, which is for sure, and it is a moment to relook at them and simplify them and reduce the complexity, which might have a direct improvement in your efficiency or reduction in the manpower. And your process, how you can derive business value from S4HANA. So if you have to map all of these and connect to a business case and connect to a commercial total cost of ownership reduction, assess, then implement is the golden rule. At the end of an assessment, you will have clarity in terms of all these points. How Kaar Tech can help you define your optimal S4HANA approach through assessment. We do this assessment for many customers, and in the past a couple of years, we have done this for more than 20 plus customers. And we identified first what we do is we identify the customer pain points and what are the drivers and what are the objectives for the move. That will be identified, and the technical assessment in terms of how your environment should look like, and identify the customer benefits with S4HANA, BI, mobility, and all the other plethora of solutions that is available, and identify the true critical value scenarios. And then you go for the discovery. Define the custom value drivers and then the benefits, key business processes, how the landscape architecture looks like in the future, and define the approach, define the license needs, define the infrastructure needs, define the cloud architecture, then define your precise roadmap in terms of the timelines, in terms of the high-level planning, and then define your outlines of business case per scenario. Based on this, we also deliver a proof of value by process checks, confirm the requirements, then giving an architecture and approach, and then develop the proof of concept if necessary. So this is a comprehensive way that you look at how your roadmap should look like, how your components should fall in place, which innovation should find what time in your roadmap, and what it will take to you commercially. So all these aspects are assessed and then you have a perfect blueprint for your S/4HANA journey. And I'd like to talk about a unique value proposition, which is K-Turn. And K-Turn is a complete, it's a proprietary suite that it talks about a complete effort estimation, custom code management, data management, test suite, issue management, and all these can be managed. So how we look at the K-Turn is starting from your S/4HANA journey, not only during your transformation or not only during the conversion or not only during your implementation journey, but perpetually throughout your organization landscape, how to get the maximum value out of your S/4HANA. So there is something called the HANApedia, where all your issues and all your troubles that you may face can be answered. And this is truly built based on the SAP Activate model. And more than 20 assessments have been performed using this. More than 7 countries we have used this, and 5 industry verticals. Now, we can have a separate session, an offline conversation on this, how K-Turn can add value to you. This is the scope across and beyond S/4HANA conversion, as I talked about earlier, starting from the initial, from the discovery stage, how you can profile, how you can create a roadmap, and how you can assess the impact on your landscape, and how your custom code can be remediated, and how the data validation can be done between your legacy and the future systems, how your complete testing can be automated, and how your training can be enforced, and how your entire business cycle process of journey or the process of transformation with your issue management, the risk management, the collaboration, and all of these can be managed within the K-Turn, and how in the future that Fiori automation and how the new looks can be implemented, or testing and the process refinement that you can do in the future after the transition. So project governance plus collaboration plus the cutover orchestration plus the issue management plus the defect management plus the training, all of these means reduced dollars. How you can achieve the entire transformation cycle with a much lower TCO. This is what it means. I would like to share with you a few of the best project hacks on our experience. The first and the foremost that I'd like to share with you is stick to Activate methodology. Follow it religiously or fail miserably. This is a little bit of an audacious statement, but I mean it to the core. The Activate SAP methodology has been really thought through. It has a very clear edged steps, and it has, whether it is a prepare phase or an explore phase or on a realize phase or a deploy or a run phase, it has excellent accelerators. I'll quickly would want to take you to this SAP roadmap. This is the SAP roadmap. This is just a quick walkthrough. I will not spend much time here. This is a very simple example of how the roadmap here looks like, and you can look at the various steps that SAP has given. And not only that, these steps are so important, especially how you can collaborate with your user community, how you can collaborate with your end user community in terms of enforcing the training, enforcing the SAP familiarization, even before the fit to standard workshops. So during the Activate really has an enforced model of how you elevate your user community to the SAP language and the best practices even before you commence your project. So that is what it has, a tons of accelerators which you can take time to go through them at a later point in time. These are the accelerators which tell you how you can govern your exploring workshop, how you manage your fit to standard workshops, what kind of questionnaires that you ask, what kind of templates that you use, what kind of business process mapping that you use, what kind of business process master list, that inventory that you use. So all these are clearly etched by the process. I think my system is taking a little bit time, so SAP site. So I will go back to the next topic. So this is the project hack 1. Activate methodology, follow to the dot. The second hack I would like to talk about is the best practices. Stick to the best practices. SAP has in the past, SAP has talked about the best practices, but the best practices was always an illusionary statement. So there was never a clear guide towards what is a best practice. How do you stick to the best practice? many a times it's not only the not unclearly articulated best practice, but also the consultants involved have the freewheeling ability to determine their own business process, to decide on their own way of solving a particular business process. But SAP Best Practices Explorer gives you the ability to, this is your, I'm just quickly showing you the SAP Best Practices Explorer. The complete solution package is available for you. All the solution stacks of SAP is here. You can look at the complete portfolio. If you take the S4HANA, this is classified by S4HANA or lines of business or technology or cloud, recent updates. And if you go to the S4HANA, whether it's an on-prem or a cloud model, if you go the on-prem model, how the practice is structured, you can look at the SAP best practices for S4HANA on-prem. You can take time to go over them at a later point. And this is where you can see that all the business processes which SAP has standardized as a best practice is listed here. If you take an example as finance, accounting and financial close. If you take this particular process, accounting and financial close, SAP calls these as scope items. They are clearly codified with these numbers, and this helps you. And there is a clear definition within this process how it looks like. What are the key business process flows? What are the test scripts? When I say test script, SAP tells you by following this step-by-step process, you get to that best practice. And all the best practices are clearly documented with these kind of process flows. It helps you comprehend what the best practice business flows are. So the best practice is no more an illusion that SAP talks about, but best practice is a truly clearly defined to the transaction level, to the process level, to the steps level, how best practices are framed. So follow this and make sure the evaluation of your implementation follows these best practices. And only if it doesn't fit, only if it doesn't suit, that you go for a custom business process or customization. So there are many such standard available. Make sure that you take advantage of this OLAP and the CDS views and this Activate methodology and a simplified database, how you can, and the custom code optimizations, how these are all the various elements that you need to take into account during your S4HANA migration to get the best value for your migration. So with these few topics, I would like to move towards the Q&A, and I would like to go towards the Q&A model, Q&A. And if you have any questions, I welcome you to shoot them at me. Yes, I have the first question from Farhad. Does SAP provide a roadmap for IS utilities to SAP S4HANA? The answer is yes. There is, for every industry solution, there is a separate S4HANA roadmap which has been given by SAP, and it needs to be specifically looked at before we can move forward. But in the simple answer for your question is, even for utilities, there is a separate S4HANA journey roadmap provided. I'll go to the next question. Do you have any case studies that we can refer to? Yes, we can provide you a specific use case in a utilities company, how the S4HANA roadmap was taken and how the S4HANA journey was planned. The next question is, would you recommend a phase-wise migration or a big bang approach to utilities? This is a very difficult question to answer on the fly. It has to be looked up in terms of the past data, how much is the past data which is being carried, what is the suitability of the current business processes, and what are the newer functionalities of the core S4HANA that utilities, that industry would like to take advantage of. Only if these questions are answered, a specific answer can be given in terms of phase-wise migration or a big bang approach can be taken. So we need more conversation on that. The next question I have is, if I have a very large data footprint, is it possible to move to S4HANA public cloud or single tenant? Is there any restrictions? If you have a huge data footprint, public cloud and single tenant can be considered as an option, but migrating of the data to is not a possibility. You have to have a separate warehouse or a separate in the SAP cloud so that you can carry your data and build analytics out of them. Carrying it to the single tenant or public cloud is not an option. The next question I have is, would you advise bringing on new functionality like EWM or treasury management along with S/4HANA conversion? If not, why? As I said before, it is strongly recommended to take advantage of the embedded EWM or the treasury management functionalities as part of the S/4HANA conversion, because in the new S/4HANA, SAP has merged all these satellite applications into the core, and that gives you a possibility for integrating them much more tightly with your core logistical processes. So it is strongly recommended to go for the embedded solutions, and it is better to take it along with the S/4HANA journey. The next question is there any business readiness before we embark into this journey similar to technical readiness? Definitely yes. The business readiness is a key driver than a technical readiness. So it is very, very important to assess the business preparedness before embarking to this S/4HANA journey. The next question I have is, can you please help me send that link which had information on single tenant edition? Yes, we can definitely help you. We will offline connect with you and send you. I have one more question. From your experience of delivering S/4HANA projects, what do you think is the approach which customers prefer? As transformation approach or green, brown, maroon? The answer is a 50-50. There are customers, 50% of the customers are going towards brownfield and other 50 customers are going towards greenfield. It's purely on individual context, but there is no one direction which customers are preferring. It's absolutely based on the context. If the longer you have been on an SAP system, for example, if you have been on the SAP system for 15-20 years, the preferred approach is greenfield. If you have been on the shorter period in SAP, generally the customers tend to choose the brownfield. I hope that answers your question. The next question I have is utilities industry ready to accept HANA platform? Very much. We have multiple live examples where the utilities industries are going for S/4HANA. So there is no doubt about it, and there is also no choice in the longer run but to embrace S/4HANA. So the answer is a very simple yes for the utilities industries as well. The next question I have is, what are the key capabilities required in-house to embark on a brownfield journey? Well, S/4HANA mandates a very strong collaboration between the user community and the IT community. So the S/4HANA journey implementation cycle also, if you look, there is a strong push towards preparing your end user community and getting them trained and getting them familiarized with S/4HANA even before going towards the journey. So it is very, very important to have clearly S/4HANA trained consultants and trained end users before commencing on the S/4HANA journey. So S/4HANA training is the most important before you commence your S/4HANA journey, even if it is a brownfield. The next question we have is, have you implemented any S/4HANA along with embedded EWM solution? The answer is yes. As of 1909 or even 1809, the embedded EWM which is available is highly enhanced, and it is tightly integrated with your transportation module and tightly integrated with your core SD and MM processes. So the loose connectivity which used to be there for the EWM in earlier scenarios is no more in the current setup. So embedded EWM going along with the S/4HANA journey is the most recommended. And yes, we do have experience and we can talk about that offline. I have a question from Vivek. From SAP HANA to S/4HANA, is the database same? In simple terms, the database is the same, not the data structures. So yes, even on Suite on HANA, HANA is the database, but it's an old structure. If you have S4HANA, the database is on the new structure. What creates the better efficiency, what creates the true efficiency is the new database structure, like the new like the accounting tables, how it has been converged. Now, those are all the factors and how the business partners have been converged. So those are all the factors which makes a true difference to your business process. So the answer is database-wise same, structure-wise they are not the same. The next question I have is, does Kaar Tech evaluate the already implemented S4HANA system by other implementers to enhance existing system if there are any misses? Definitely yes. We are happy to take that kind of mandates. We will be happy to support you in terms of assessing the pre-S4HANA systems or post-S4HANA systems as well. So that's something we can happily do, Mr. Tahu. Thank you. The next question I have is, SAP MDG is also getting attention from business. Any recommendations? The master data governance is a function which you have to assess based on your organization's complexity. So which are all the masters which you need central control? Are you geographically spread? Are there multiple stakeholders in your master data governance? So these are all the areas which you need to take into account. For example, if there is a customer master, are there multiple stakeholders involved? For example, if you have a material master where there is multiple plants involved in manufacturing the same product code, and is there multiple business stakeholders governing the data? Do you have many errors and troubles which are arising out of the master data mess? That is what is a business driver to go towards SAP MDG. So if that is the answer is yes, you should look at SAP MDG. The next question is, Vivek, as we are in SAP HANA DB, is it required to migrate? The answer is definitely yes. HANA DB satisfies only whether it's Oracle or other database. HANA DB is just like another database. It gives you faster performance. It's purely technical value. If you want to have business value, the answer is yes, you have to migrate. I have a question from Qasim. Thanks for this presentation. As I understand, the preparation for S4HANA has to be in 2021. Is that means we need 3 to 4 years for implementation? No. S4HANA implementation doesn't need 3 to 4 years, but it depends on how big your organization is. Do you have a multi-country, multi-continent, multi-plant, multi-sales organization, multi-client implementation with hundreds of clients? Then you're talking about a 3, 4, 5 year roadmap. If you're a single tenant organization with a single SAP infrastructure, then you may not need 3 to 4 years, but what you need is a clear digitization roadmap. How do I take the S4? Then what are all the other satellite solutions that I'm going to bring? Other key business innovations that I'm going to bring, which is going to plug into my S4HANA landscape. So that will be a 3 to 4 year roadmap that you may have to put in place, but the transition and the journey of transformation alone may not take 3 to 4 years. Thank you, Qasim, for this question. What is the main reason when you ask, don't go with SOH, then S4HANA? Suite on HANA. Yeah, this is an important question. There are many customers who think going on Suite on HANA gives them the maximum benefit and then they can go to the S4HANA. The answer is wrong. Even if you're going to a Suite on HANA, the energy and the effort, what you're going to spend is almost 70 to 80% of going towards S4HANA. So you might as well, instead of wasting that effort, instead of repeating that effort when you go towards S4HANA, you might as well choose going to S4HANA directly. So this would be a strong recommendation. But unless we really have to look into your context and say if that matters or why you really want to go to Suite on HANA and then go to S/4HANA. That's not the recommended direction. Thank you. The next question is, what is the purpose we use from SAP ECC to S/4HANA? Advantages and disadvantages. Well, that's a webinar by itself in terms of ECC to S/4HANA. The first and foremost reason is ECC does not exist after 2025. So you don't have ECC. So you have to get ready for that today. The second advantage is the complete SAP strategy of building all the innovation platform is kept on the S/4HANA. The innovations start dying in ECC. All the innovations are happening only in S/4HANA. As I mentioned, the advantages are many, many. It can be on your interoperability with your other systems. It can be between your customer experiences, the speed of performance, real-time analytics. It can be plug and play of other satellite solutions, how you integrate with other innovations of AI/ML direction. So there are many things which guide your advantages for S/4HANA. So that's a huge topic. We can help you offline with that. The next question I have is, what is the main reason when you say don't go with SOH then to S/4HANA? I think I already answered that question. Does S/4HANA provide an accelerator to help in data preparation in terms of data cleansing and data model mapping for the transition to S/4HANA? Yes, there are ready-made, there are conversion tools available with S/4HANA. SAP provides those conversion tools, and that can be made use of for preparing your landscape towards the S/4HANA. This is a question I would also request our CTO, George, to answer if he can step in, to have a better view in terms of the standard support available from SAP in terms of the transition. I think I'll take one last question. Is S/4HANA public cloud available for all the verticals? The answer is no. SAP is putting in place the S/4HANA public cloud in a very fast pace and making it available for all the multiple verticals. But to say that it is available for all verticals is not true. So each vertical needs to be assessed in terms of its preparedness. But there's a lot of literature available out there which clearly tells what is the roadmap and when it is going to be available. So thank you all. Thank you all for patiently participating in the webinar. I believe there was value for all the participants. And if there are any questions that you might have, we are very, very happy to take it offline and we can support you with any assessment that you may want to have. Over to you, Niveda. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maran. Thank you for explaining and addressing all the queries. And we still have few questions left out for which we will be individually answering, sending out all the answers to you people via mail. So thank you all. Thank you for attending this session. And we will also send the on-demand recorded webinar session to you individually. And you can write to us. Thank you.
Thank you all. Nice interacting with all of you. Thank you.